All right, good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for the delay. We're going to begin with our Fulton State Expedited Accusation Calendar. Today is September 28th, 2022, and this is a calendar in which individuals accused of misdemeanor offenses. This would be the initial appearance before a judicial officer. Please remember that if you're a defendant charged or accused of one or more misdemeanor offenses, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you say about the facts, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one of our attorneys from our public defenders or conflict defense list will represent you. Who do we have in courtroom two?
Good afternoon, Judge. It's going to be position 8, Mr. Welch.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Welch, your case number is going to be 22 CR 0065828. You were accused of criminal trespass from September 27, 2022. Tucson, good afternoon. May I have his priors, please?
First.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King, good afternoon. And what's your recommendation for Mr. Welch?
There is currently a $500 surety in place, but the state will consent to a $300 signature through pretrial. No further contact. I take that back. A stay away from the Westlake MARTA station located at 80 Anderson Avenue in Atlanta, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right. Ms. Kim, I'm going to agree to $1,000 signature bond through the jail.
Sure.
And he's to stay away from just the Westlake MARTA station. He can use MARTA services if he's not suspended, and but he cannot embark on any bus or train or disembark on bus or train at the Westlake MARTA station. Do you understand, Mr. Welch?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Make sure that we have a good address on you, and your next court date is going to be October. Is it going to be the 12th or the 11th?
Sorry about that. I apologize.
I'm sorry. Miss Grace, is the next court date October 11th?
It's gonna be, you said sign on bond through jail, correct, Judge?
Right. Oh, no, it's yeah, it's
for the notice.
Yeah.
And the reset date I put in the chat is the 11th of October.
Okay, sorry, thank you. Yes, okay, yeah, I forgot. Mr. Welch, yes, your next court date will be sent to you in the mail, so make sure we have a good address on you. The October 11th date does not apply to you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Position 6, Tomlin.
Xavier, I think it's Xavier or Xavier Tomlin. Is case number 22 CR 0065855Y, accused of simple battery domestic violence from August 12, 2022. Mr. Tomlin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
You got an open case and called sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm during the commission. Open case in Superior Court, our Superior Court. Possession of a firearm during the commission, hijacking motor vehicle, ag assault with intent to rob. 20 CP 190270. That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting a $7,500 surety in this case. The reason being is for those two open cases. The 20 CP case was quite far removed, but he was out on bond for that felony case. He paid a $50,000 surety bond to be released when he committed the second felony that pretrial referenced. And he's out on both of those bonds when he committed the offense before, Your Honor, today. On August 12th of this year, he struck his girlfriend, Miss Essence Edwards, ESSENCE, last name traditional spelling, in her face. And while the officers did not notice any visible injuries, the state is still concerned, especially with him having firearm offenses and violent offenses in his criminal history. For that reason, the state is requesting that surety bond, no further contact, stay away, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Javier Tomlin is 22 years old and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. He has one child, and another one is coming, I guess, about a year later. No, 8 months later, maybe. And he also has his family members all here in Georgia, two sisters and one brother. He also has a job. He's gainfully employed at Walmart. He stocks all the cat food. He's been doing that for about 3 weeks, and he has up to 11th grade. And he's also enrolled in GED program to complete at Atlanta Tech College. We would like to request for a signature on bond for this particular one. He denies the allegation, and I was hoping to contact Ms. Edwards, but I could not contact her, and it has been already more than 1 month. They would like to have a non-violent contact.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a Miss Edwards on the Zoom. I'm not certain. I'm looking at this warrant and I'm not sure if the Perry Boulevard is a current address or is it a
At this time, we only know that as the incident location. We're not sure of whose residence that is at this time, Your Honor.
okay, all right.
I was
yeah.
told, I apologize. I didn't
Go
mean to
ahead.
interrupt. I was told that his mother's address is 2265 Perry Boulevard, and actually 2233. That's, I think it's not really where he resides.
Okay. The bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Essence Edwards, and to stay away from wherever she happens to be. So if she is on a public street, in a particular house, or at her place of work, you're required to stay 200 yards away from her. The child in question, does he share the child with her, or? do we
Yes,
know?
there is a one child they're sharing.
All right, and so if he plans to have any contact with the child, he would need to file a legitimation action, establish paternity, and then get a court order to establish a visitation and custody with the child in question. All right,
Yes, Your Honor.
thank you. Next court date is going to be October 11th.
Thank you.
Good day. Position 1, Edge.
That's my case, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Murphy. And that was position 1.
Should be Khalil Edge.
All right, we got it. Mr. Khalil Edge is charged with battery domestic violence from July 3rd, 2021. His case is now accused, and the case number is 22 CR 006-581J. Mr. Khalil Edge, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Dennis Murphy. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
Fourth arrest, 2017 battery. Battery DV was dismissed. 2010 simple battery DV conviction. That's it. His last arrest was on the 25th of this month for driving without a valid license. He went to the city jail for that.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Kano, sorry, Ms. Alette, good afternoon. Yes, and what do you recommend for Mr. Edge?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is recommending a $7,500 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Latosha Brooks, Latoshia Brooks, and a stay away from the incident location, which is 3440 Boulder Parker Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, in a 1-day anger awareness class, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. In this incident, the defendants owns all the police.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? The defendant what?
The defendant's sister called the police, his own sister called the police on him.
Oh, okay.
To come out and investigate the incident that occurred with him and the victim, Miss Brooks. Officers did notice a visible bite mark on Miss Brooks' back, and She was also the same victim in the 2017 battery family violence arrest. And as Mr. Howard said, he does have a previous simple battery family violence conviction as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Murphy?
Judge, my client is age 30. The prior that they had mentioned from 5 years ago was dismissed. He has one child with the alleged victim. This happened on July 3rd, I believe, of 2021.
Yeah.
Judge, I'd ask the court to consider a signature bond. He's a forklift operator with Allied Fitting. He's been there for several years. He grew up in Atlanta. I don't believe there's any other aggravating factors. He can certainly relocate and live somewhere else until the case gets resolved.
Okay, all right.
And again, he was picked up on a traffic stop, not due
Yeah.
to some new DV issue.
Yeah, I was reading the police report. He wasn't at the incident at the time of the investigation, so I guess eventually it happened.
Judge, my client had said that there was an encounter with the authorities, but the authorities were not going to charge him. That's what he had said. And that somehow that this
Oh, no,
this
they
charge
weren't
got
there.
picked
No,
up at some point.
you're right. I'm sorry, I'm confusing it with another one I read. This was,
But they do not, they're married, but they don't work together. There's no other, I would ask the court to consider a signature bond. There's no other person he can fall back on or to
Okay.
get bond.
Ms. Salette, is this the one where the officer came and they both refused to come to the door, or someone came to the door? I'm
That's
trying to
correct.
recollect.
That's
Okay,
correct,
okay. And no arrest was made at that time?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Edge, I pull up your name on the Fulton County case list. And unfortunately, we just see a string of battery cases associated with your name. Now, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's unfortunate that you are just associated with battery cases, and that's quite concerning. Your bond is going to be set at $7,500. It is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You are to have no further contact with Latasha Brooks. I know it's a year ago, but I don't see Miss Brooks here. I don't know what's the status of your relationship with her, but something is clearly going on because there seems to be the element of violence in your life. So from today onwards, you need to make sure that you do not reside with Miss Brooks and that you're living separately. And that means you stay away from 3440 Boulder Park Drive if that's where your marital home is. I will allow for third-party contact with any children that you share. In other words, there can be contact through a third party. But while this case is ongoing, you both shall live separately. While you're also out on bond, you will attend and complete the 6-month domestic violence intervention program. I don't know if you've had the benefit of that program in any of your prior cases, but while you're out on bond, you will enroll in such a program within 60 days of being released, and you will attend and pay for those weekly classes until the 6-month program is completed. You're to not consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or firearms. Once you're released, you're to update the court with your new address within 30 days. Do you have any questions about your bond?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. This is going to be further notice. Mr. Edge will let us know of his new address and we'll send him his new court date.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate the wisdom of the court. Thank you.
All right, sir. Take care.
Position 3, Myrick.
Judge, if that's John Myrick, that's also my case.
All right, thank you. John Myrick, case number 22 CR 006586E, is accused of battery, domestic violence from September 27, 2022. Mr. Myrick, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Dennis Murphy. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
7 total.
Any prior DV matters?
Last arrest was 2014 probation. It was disorderly conduct to property. Came off of 2012 convictions. 2011 battery DV. It was dismissed in state court. 2009 simple battery DV. I don't see a disposition for that one. That's it.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Saleh?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Latika Lee, Lateekalee. Stay away from the incident location, which is 3316-2 Desert Drive, East Point, Georgia, 30344. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a one-day anger awareness class. On September 27, 2022, Officer Hollis was dispatched to the incident location, that 3316 address. The victim, Ms. Lee, called the police out because her live-in boyfriend, the defendant, had assaulted her. She stated that they got into a verbal altercation and he took her cell phone and iPad from her work cell phone and iPad. And when she tried to retrieve those items back, the defendant punched her in the face and caused her to fall. Officer Hollis noticed a scratch on her lower back and a cut in her mouth where she stated that he punched her. The defendant does have prior battery family violence and simple battery family violence arrests, not with this victim, but with different other female victims. The disorderly conduct conviction from 2012 was a domestic situation, although it was a disorderly conduct charge. Due to the defendant's history, the state would be asking for that $5,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Murphy?
Judge, I believe the Miss Latika Lee was also arrested at the scene.
And I'm sorry.
My client did reside with her. He's not on that lease. He's age 36. He has an 11th grade education. However, he is a forklift driver with DHL. He's been with them for 2 years. He does not work with the alleged victim. He does not have children with her. He disputes the charges. We'd ask the court to consider a signature bond therein. He's not on that lease, so he'll be happy to relocate and find other housing pending the outcome of this case.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may add, Ms. Lee was arrested, but our office has NOD'd her case. We did determine that the defendant was a predominant aggressor based on his history, and she did call the police out for this incident, Your Honor.
So notwithstanding his history, the reason you believed him to be the initial aggressor or the primary aggressor is because she called the police? Is there anything
That
else?
is one of the reasons, Your Honor.
Okay,
We use the factors outlined in the statute, Your Honor.
okay, understood. Yeah. I don't think the statute says who called the police first makes them the aggressor. Okay. The bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's a surety bond. No further contact with Latika Lee or Letitia Lee, and to stay away from the Desert Drive location. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and his next court date is going to be October 11th. Thank you.
Judge, will you put in there to the effect if he needs a one-time visit that he can go there with the police or sheriff to
All
get possessions?
He's allowed a one-time visit to the incident location, but he must be in the company of a police officer. This visit's only to retrieve his personal belongings. There cannot be a breach of peace, and he cannot exceed 2 hours to retrieve his stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Myrick, I'll reach out to your brother. Thank you.
How much was that? How much?
2K surety, 10/11 next court date.
Judge Law, I have a few announcements.
Yes.
For position 4, you're done. Let's see the room. Position 4, they waive their appearance.
Okay.
Also for position 5, they waive their appearance.
All right.
And also we have another officer going to medical that is going to be doing position number 2, and they should be en route now. And then also for position 7, we had him in court yesterday, but he got upgraded to felony.
All right, so Lester Walker case has been transferred to the Superior Court.
That's correct.
All right, and Miss Salette or Miss King, was
Your
there a
Honor?
transfer order? Was it automatic transfer?
Your Honor,
Office-
it is not a transfer. A additional warrant for aggravated assault was later taken out. We have null
That's fine.
pros the case, and I did send a null pros order to Miss Grace for Your Honor's signature.
Yeah, Mr. Jordan tell me that. Okay.
Okay,
This is
wonderful.
gonna be
Thank
null
you.
pros.
Are we
Okay.
putting no pros on this one?
Yeah, position 7 is going to be a null pros, basically, because he's got a new charge and it's a felony charge. Okay, so thank you, Deputy Francois. We will then address did you say one was on the way from medical, Miss Victoria?
Position 2.
Position 2, Victoria Graham. Okay, so we're gonna wait for the medical unit to appear, or is she coming to courtroom 2?
No, he's gonna be appearing in medical.
Okay, all right, okay. Thank you then, Francois. We'll see you later. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Judge,
Yes.
Judge, the Graham case is the last case I have on the calendar.
Okay, so we're waiting for medical to sign on so we can address Miss Graham.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, I got it, Tucson. And so let's go ahead and do the cases in which appearances have been waived. So first one I have is position 4, State versus Michael Ryder, 22 CR 006565E. Mr. Ryder was accused of criminal trespass from September 26, 2022. And is it Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually,
All
Ms.
right.
Mrs. King. has
Do you
to
have
go
both the
first.
cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, I want to confirm that the waiver has been filed in both cases.
I
Yes.
can only
Yeah.
check and see.
Awesome.
Yes, I have them, Judge, and they have been entered in the system.
All right, thank you. All right, so since there's been a waiver filed, we're just addressing the issue of bond. And
Yeah.
Mr. Tucson, any priors on Mr. Michael Ryder?
Yeah, check your chat. He ain't going nowhere.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see now. When was that incident date for the felony matter?
Put on the warrant now.
It was a few days ago.
Okay,
Yeah, on the 24th.
all right, this incident dates from September 26. All right, so Miss King, Miss Kim, I'm going to set bond at 1,500 surety bond and to stay away from the location. Any objections?
I would like to ask for signature on bond because he has a no bond from the felony charge anyway. So even though he has a signature on bond from here, he has a really, really bigger fish to fry.
Well, the state feels that the surety bond is appropriate, being as he has a conviction for the same charge just last year, Your Honor.
I'm looking at 2009, 2021, and 2022. 1,500 surety bond, reset dates October 11. And stay away from the incident locations. And somebody give me that location, please.
It is 1105 Holcomb Bridge Road, which is an Exxon gas station.
Okay. All right, moving on to Richard Silvers Tilgham. And this is case number 22 CR 006580Y. Mr. Tilgham is accused of criminal trespass from September 27, 2022. And he's represented by Ms. Kim, and he has waived his appearance as well. And I'll just confirm that also. My goodness. Yeah, all right, there's been a formal waiver filed. And any priors, Mr. Tucson?
18 total.
Mhm.
Resident of Athens. Last arrest was August 31st for shoplifting. Before that was May 2020 battery, physical harm. February 2020 trespass, ag assault conviction, robbery conviction, 2018.
That's good. Thank you. Miss Ms. King and Ms. Kim, any objection again to a 1500 and stay away from the incident location?
Yes, the state will be objecting, Your Honor. That battery, that pretrial reference 22 CR 002-458Y, he has failed to appear twice on it, once in June and once the beginning of this month, Your Honor. For that reason, we're asking for a 5,000 surety and to stay away.
Doesn't he have a bench warrant already on that one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what's the bond in that bench warrant?
I was not actually able to determine it. So in the jail screen, it doesn't show him being held on it. So it just shows the old bond, which was a signature bond. So I don't see a new amount for the bench warrant.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of his past history, we would like to request for maximum $1,000. Thank you.
I'm trying to see what his bond is, but you're right, I can't pull it up either. Come on. Yeah, it's gonna be a $1,500 surety bond, and he's to stay away from the entire complex at the apartment complex at 205 12th Street in Atlanta, Georgia. His next court date is October 11.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons and firearms. Okay. All right, medical, is medical signed on? This I see, all right. Mr. Murphy, are you present, sir?
I am, Judge.
Okay, excellent. Good afternoon, Ms. Graham. Can you hear me all right?
Your Honor, would we be able to do a breakout room for this position?
Okay, all right. So Ms. Victoria Graham, my name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing your particular case. Your case number is 22 CR 006-587C. You've been accused of willful obstruction of an officer, disorderly conduct, 2 counts of each charge. So you have a total of 4 charges against you. So you have a right to remain silent. Don't say anything about the facts of your case, because if you say anything, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Dennis Murphy. If Mr. Murphy can wave his hand, do you see him on the screen?
I do.
Excellent. All right, excellent. So we are actually going to take a small break. You will see us disappear from the screen for a minute. While we are away, please do not say anything. So I'm going to ask the deputy at the medical unit to mute your screen. All right, and we will be with you very shortly. Is it going to be Mr. Jordan? If you can place me and Mr. Murphy and whoever else would like to be in the breakout, please raise your hand. So it'll be Miss Falk, Miss Salette. Okay. All right, if we can unmute Ms. Graham's Zoom panel, please. Thank you. All right, Miss Victoria Graham, so we have had a sidebar conference with your attorney as well as the prosecutors, evaluated the documents that have been filed in your case, and tried to understand the nature of the charges brought against you. I'm going to grant you a signature bond. It's going to be $2,000 on each count. It's just an $8,000 signature bond, which means that you can sign up for your bond. You will not have to pay for your bond. Understood?
I understand. Thank you.
You will report to pretrial once a month. You will also comply with all Fulton County animal control ordinances and laws, which means that your pets must be secured within your property, that if you have any fences, that they must comply with animal control requirements so that the animals do not escape on their own. If
Okay.
they do leave your property, you must comply with all leash laws. They cannot, what we call dog at large, they cannot be off the property and running around or walking around without a leash, which is being controlled by its owner.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If Fulton County Animal Control gets a report of any animal control violations and you receive a citation, are you following me?
Listening, yes.
You receive a citation alleging that you have violated the animal control laws, you could be rearrested and brought back to jail and lose your signature bond.
Okay.
So you have 8,000 reasons to make sure that you secure your pets and you don't give your neighbors any reason to call animal control.
Okay.
Within 60 days of being released, you will also go to Grady Hospital or any medical provider of your choice.
Thank you.
Obtain a MH evaluation. Your attorney will explain to you what an MH evaluation is and to submit yourself to any treatment if required. All right?
Understood.
You can have the assistance of your family to go through that. And we will send you notice of when to come back to court for your next appearance.
Okay.
No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. That means no knives, no guns. You're not to have anything that can be used in a menacing or threatening manner.
Understood.
All right, that concludes your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms.
Thank you.
Graham, I'll be in touch with your family. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, I believe that concludes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. You have a great day. You're free to go, but I'm just going to go over the calendar. Position number 1 is a $7,500 signature bond, further notice. Position 2 is an $8,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 3 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset October 11th. Position 4 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset October 11th. Position 5 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset October 11th. Position 6 is a 2,000 surety bond, October 11th. Position 7 has been null pros due to the new case in Superior Court. And position 8 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. May all our calendars be like this for the rest of the week.
Amen.
All right.
The rest of the year.
Oh, shush. We'll get bored then. All right, everyone, thank you very much. I expect the orders from, they'll be filed today. And have a good Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bye. Thank you, Your Honor.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Tucson.